The dust hung thick over the makeshift auction ground outside Tombstone, Arizona, a gritty vale stirred by the restless hooves of horses and the creak of wagon wheels. It was October 3rd, 1881, a day that would sear itself into my memory like a brand on hide. I hadn't meant to linger in town, but business had delayed me, and the clamor of voices drew me to the edge of the crowd. What I saw there stopped my heart cold. It wasn't livestock being sold, as I'd first thought. It was people. My name is Marcus Coleman, though most call me Cole. At 42, I've seen enough of this world's cruelty to fill several lifetimes. I was a cavalry officer in the Apache Wars, haunted by battles that still claw at my dreams. 3 years ago, I lost my wife Sarah to consumption, and since then, I've lived alone on my ranch in Red Canyon, wrestling with a past that won't lie quiet. But nothing had prepared me for the scene unfolding before me. The auctioneer, Ezra Blackwood, stood on a rickety platform, his voice slick as grease. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've got fine specimens today. Strong backs for ranch work, mining, whatever you need." The crowd was a rough mix: miners, ranchers, men with eyes that gleamed with intentions I didn't want to dwell on. They prodded the captives, checking teeth and muscles, their voices low and callous, discussing uses that turned my stomach. Most of the prisoners were Apache, taken in raids or skirmishes: men, women, even children, chained together like goods in a market. It should have been illegal, but Sheriff Stone stood among the bidders, not as lawman but as a buyer. Then I saw them. 2 young Apache women stood at the end of the line, and something about them hooked my gaze. They were sisters, no question, same high cheekbones, same proud tilt to their chins despite the chains. The older one, maybe 26, shielded the younger, who couldn't have been more than 19. Their defiance set them apart. While others in the line showed fear or resignation, these 2 stood tall. The older sister's eyes burned with a fury that seemed to dare the world to touch her, while the youngers held a quiet dignity, untouched by the degradation around them. "Now here's something special," Blackwood crowed, stepping toward the sisters, 2 Apache squaws, I'm told. "Look at these fine specimens, young, strong, and they'll work hard with the right motivation." The crowd's lewd chuckles made my fists clench. "The older one's got fire in her," Blackwood said, keeping his distance from her reach. "Might need breaking in, but she'd be worth it. The younger one's docile, perfect for household duties." He spoke of them like animals, his casual cruelty a blade to my core. "Bidding starts at $50 for the pair." Hands shot up. 60, 75, 100. The bids climbed, each voice laced with greed. These weren't men looking for laborers. Their faces told darker stories. The older sister turned, her eyes locking onto mine across the crowd. For a moment, the noise faded, and it was just us. Her gaze wasn't a plea she was too proud for. It was a challenge, a question. "Are you going to stand there, or are you going to do something?" "150, shouted Jake Morrison, a mine owner known for working men to death. One called Tom Crawford, whose reputation with women was whispered about in saloons. The bids kept rising, and with each one, my anger grew hotter. These were human beings, not property. The younger sister trembled slightly, though her head stayed high, while the older one's jaw was set, her eyes never leaving the crowd. "250, Crawford bellowed, and the crowd hushed. It was a fortune, more than most saw in half a year. Blackwood scanned the bidders, grinning. "Going once, going twice, 300, I heard myself say." Every head turned. Blackwood's eyes gleamed with greed, while Crawford shot me a venomous glare. Well, Blackwood said. "Cole Coleman enters the bidding. 300 from the gentleman in the back." Crawford's face reddened. 325, 350, I counted, my voice steady despite the pounding in my chest. 400, Crawford snarled. The crowd murmured, feeding on the tension. I glanced at the sisters. The older one was still watching me, her eyes searching, trying to unravel my intentions. 500, I said, clear and loud. A gasp rippled through the crowd. It was a year's wages for some. Crawford looked ready to spit fire, but hesitated, his greed finally hitting its limit. "Going once, going twice sold." Blackwood's gavel slammed down. "The Apache sisters go to Mr. Coleman for $500. As I pushed through the crowd to pay, whispers trailed me. "What's Cole want with 2 squaws?" Thought he was still mourning Sarah. Man's got particular tastes, I reckon. I ignored them, handing Blackwood the money without a word. He grinned, greasy and triumphant. Congratulations, Mr. Coleman. Excellent choice. They'll serve you well, I'm sure. I turned to the sisters, the word purchases sticking in my throat. I'd just bought 2 human beings. The fact that I'd done it to save them from worse fates didn't ease the sickness in my gut. They stood, unchained from the line, but still, bound at the wrists, their expressions unreadable. What are your names? I asked, dredging up what little Apache I remembered from my cavalry days. The older sister's eyes widened slightly, but she stayed silent. Your names, I repeated in English. I am Kaya Nightwind, she said finally, her voice steady, despite the weight of her circumstances. This is my sister, Ayana. Well, Kaya, Ayana, I said, we've got a long ride ahead. As we walked to my wagon, I felt their stares and the crowd's murmurs like a physical weight. Sheriff Stone approached as I helped them into the wagon bed. Coleman, he said with a smirk, hope you know what you're doing. Apache women can be unpredictable. I can handle myself, Sheriff. Just remember, they're your property now. Any trouble they cause, it's on your head. The word property made my skin crawl, but I nodded and climbed onto the wagon seat. As we rolled out of Tombstone, I caught Kaya's reflection in the side mirror, whispering urgently to Ayana in Apache. I couldn't blame them for their fear. They had no reason to trust me. The ride was silent for the first hour, the only sounds the creak of the wagon and the steady clop of hooves. Finally, Ayana spoke, her English halting. Where are you taking us? I glanced back at them, these 2 women whose lives I'd just bought for $500. Home, I said. I'm taking you home. Confusion flickered in their eyes, but I saw a faint glimmer of something else, hope, maybe. They didn't understand yet, but they would. Red Canyon Ranch sprawled across 2,000 acres, nestled in a valley framed by crimson cliffs that gave it its name. I'd built it with Sarah, dreaming of a family we'd never raise. Now it was too big, too empty for one man. As we approached, Rosa Martinez, my housekeeper, stepped out, her eyes widening at the sight of the sisters. A widow in her 50s, Rosa had been with us for a decade. Dios mío, Señor Cole, whatever you done. Something I should have done a long time ago, I said. Climbing down, I helped Kaya from the wagon, her grip strong despite her hesitation. Ayana was more trusting, letting me lift her down gently. They stood in the yard, still bound, uncertain. Rosa, I said, prepare the guest rooms and find them some proper clothes. Guests. Rosa's eyebrows shot up. That's right, guests. I turned to Kaya and Ayana. Let me make this clear. You're not my property. You're not slaves. What happened in Tombstone was wrong, and I'm sorry. You're free to leave whenever you want. I pulled a knife from my pocket, and they tensed, but I cut their bonds, the ropes falling away. If you stay, you'll be treated as members of this household, with respect and dignity. Kaya rubbed her wrists, her eyes unreadable. Why? She asked. Why by us, if not to use us? Because, I said, the words rising from a place I thought long dead. Sometimes the right thing is the hardest thing. That night, in my study, I stared at the moonlit cliffs, wondering what I'd set in motion. I'd brought to Apache women into my home in a territory where hatred ran deep. I'd spent a fortune I couldn't afford, and I didn't know if they'd ever trust me. But the alternative, leaving them to men like Crawford or Morrison, was unthinkable. For the first time in 3 years, I felt a spark of purpose, a reason to do more than just survive. The question now was whether I could keep them silent, whether they'd ever see me as more than the man who'd bought them like cattle. The first light of dawn sliced through the curtains of my bedroom window, casting long shadows across the wooden floor. I woke with a start, the remnants of a dream clinging to me like dust on my boots, Sarah's face fading into the defiant stare of Kaya Nightwind. The house was quiet, but not empty. For the first time in years, there were breaths other than mine echoing through the walls. I dressed quickly, the chill of the October morning seeping through the cracks in the ranch house, a reminder that winter's bite was coming early to Red Canyon. Down in the kitchen, the aroma of fresh coffee mingled with the faint scent of sage. From the night before, Rosa had already stoked the fire in the stove, her movements efficient and silent as she prepared breakfast. She glanced at me, her dark eyes sharp with unspoken questions. They slept. Sinar Cole, the younger one, she cried in her sleep. The older, she didn't sleep much at all. I nodded, pouring myself a cup of the steaming brew, its bitterness grounding me. Give them time, Rosa. They've been through hell. As if summoned by my words, footsteps creaked on the stairs. Kaya appeared first, her dark hair unbound, cascading, over shoulders tensed like a coiled spring. She wore one of Sarah's old dresses that Rosa had altered overnight, simple calico, faded blue, hanging loose on her frame but unable to hide the strength in her posture. Ayana followed close behind, her eyes downcast, fingers twisting in the fabric of her own borrowed gown. They moved as one, a unit forged in survival, their bare feet silent on the floorboards. "Good morning," I said, keeping my voice even, not too warm, not too distant. Kaya's gaze flicked to the knife on the table, then to my hands, empty and open. She didn't respond, but Ayana murmured something soft in Apache. Earning a sharp look from her sister, Rosa set plates of eggs and biscuits before them. "Eat, you need strength." Ayana hesitated, then sat, her movements tentative, like a deer, testing new ground. Kaya remained standing, her eyes scanning the room, the windows, offering views of the red cliffs, the door leading to the yard, potential escapes mapped in her mind. I pushed a chair out for her. "Sit, no one's forcing you." She met my eyes, that challenge from the auction block still burning there. Slowly, she lowered herself, but her body stayed rigid, ready to bolt. The meal passed in heavy silence, broken only by the scrape of forks and the distant lowing of cattle. I could feel the weight of their uncertainty, thick as the dust storms that swept the territory. Kaya's fingers gripped her utensil like a weapon, while Ayana ate in small bites, her glances toward me curious, but guarded. When they finished, Rosa cleared the plates, her presence a buffer in the tense air. "I have chores," I said, standing. "You're welcome to help or rest, your choice." Kaya watched me go, her expression unreadable. Outside, the air was crisp, carrying the scent of pine from the distant mountains and the earthy tang of the corral. I saddled my horse, a sturdy bay named Thunder, his coat warm under my hands. The ranch stretched before me, fences needing mending, cattle to check after last week's raid rumors. The borderlands were unforgiving. One loose wire could mean lost, stock to coyotes, or worse, rustlers. As I rode out, I felt eyes on my back. From the porch, Kaya stood, arms crossed, her silhouette stark against the rising sun. By midday, sweat soaked my shirt, the sun beating down like a hammer on anvil. I'd repaired a section of fence where barbed wire had snapped, the metal biting into my palms, leaving red welts. Returning to the barn, I found Kaya there, brushing down one of the mares. Her strokes were firm, confident, speaking of a life among horses. Ayana sat nearby on a hay bale, weaving something from strips of leather, perhaps a bracelet, her fingers nimble despite the faint tremors. "You know horses," I observed, hanging my tools. Kaya didn't pause. "Apache live with them. Ride before we walk." I nodded, unsaddling Thunder. "This one's skittish. Kicked a hand last month." She approached, her hand extended, palm up. The horse snorted, but she murmured low in Apache, her voice a soothing rhythm like wind through canyons. Thunder calmed, nuzzling her. "He senses fear. Yours, not fear. Caution." I watched her, the way the light caught the scars on her wrists. From the rope's faint lines, badges of endurance. Ayana looked up. "Kaya best with animals. In village, she trained ponies." "Village?" I asked gently. Kaya's hand stilled. "Gone now. Burned." The word hung heavy, evoking images of smoke and screams from my cavalry days. Guilt twisted in my gut, sharp as the wire cuts. "I'm sorry." "Why?" "You there?" Her eyes pierced me. "I fought in the wars, but not ... not like that." She turned away, resuming her brushing. "All white men same. Take what they want, not all." But my words felt hollow even to me. That afternoon, storm clouds gathered over the cliffs, turning the sky to bruised purple. Thunder rumbled in the distance, a warning of the flash floods that could carve new scars into the land. I hurried to secure the animals, the wind whipping dust into my eyes, stinging like accusations. Inside, Rosa had lit lamps, their flickering, light casting shadows that danced like ghosts. Kaya and Ayana helped without asking, their efficiency born of necessity. As rain began to pound the roof, we gathered in the kitchen. The downpour isolated us, the world outside, a blur of water and mud. "Storms here quick," I said, "but dangerous. Washes fill fast." Kaya stared out the window, rain streaking the glass. "Like tears, we know danger, lived it." Her words opened a crack, and I probed gently. "How did you end up at the auction?" Ayana flinched, But Kaya spoke, her voice steady. Raiders, white men, bounty hunters, attacked camp at night, killed many, took us. The simplicity of her account belied the horror. I could smell the gunpowder in my memory, hear the cries, and before that, free hunting, gathering, family. Her jaw tightened. Now, just us. Rosa crossed herself, pubbed. We sat through the storm, the shared shelter forging a tentative bond. When the rain eased to a drizzle, Kaya stood. "Why you alone here, wife?" The question caught me off guard. "Sarah died 3 years ago. Consumption, sorry." It was the first. Softness in her tone. I shrugged, the ache familiar. "Life on the frontier takes what it wants." "Like wars," she said pointedly. "Yes, like wars." That night, sleep evaded me. The storm had passed, leaving the air fresh but charged. I heard footsteps downstairs, Kaya, pacing like a caged animal. Descending quietly, I found her by the fire, staring into the embers. "Can't sleep." She didn't startle. "Dreams bad." "Me too." I sat across from her, the fire's warmth battling the chill. "Battles, losses. You kill Apache." The directness was a knife. "Yes, in war. War or murder." Her eyes reflected the flames. I met her gaze. "Both, sometimes." I followed orders, but orders wrong. She nodded slowly. "Regret, every day." Silence stretched, broken by the pop of wood. "I killed 2. Raider who... hurt Ayana." Her confession hung between us, raw and unvarnished. "To protect her." "Yes." Her voice cracked slightly, revealing the fragility beneath her strength, the weight of survival etching lines on her young face. "You're strong," I said. "Both of you have to be, or die." In that moment, respect bloomed, mutual and hard-earned. Not love, not yet, but a foundation built on shared scars. The next days blurred into a routine tempered by the land's harshness. Mornings brought frost that crunched underfoot, a prelude to winter's grip. We worked side by side, mending fences in winds that howled like banshees, herding cattle through thorny scrub that tore at clothes and skin. Kaya's knowledge proved invaluable. She spotted tracks of predators before I did, her eyes sharp as a hawk's. Ayana tended the garden, her hands coaxing life from soil baked hard by sun. But tension simmered. Whispers from town reached us via supply. Run's folks questioning my Apache guests. Sheriff Stone stirring trouble. One evening, as we ate stew thick with venison Kaya had helped hunt, a knock echoed through the house. I opened the door to find Deputy Harlan, his badge glinting in the lamplight, rain dripping from his hat. "Coleman, sheriff sent me. Reports of Apache raids nearby. Need to check your... visitors." Kaya froze at the table, her knife in hand. Ayana paled. "They're guests. Harlan, no trouble here." He peered inside, his gaze lingering on the sisters with a mix of suspicion and something uglier. "Guests, huh? Look like squaws to me. Sheriff says they might be scouts. Get off my porch." My voice was low, but steel-edged. He smirked. "Just doing my job. Keep em in line, or we'll handle it." As he rode away, the door closed with a thud. That resonated like a threat. Kaya stood, her face a mask. "He come back, maybe. You hand us over." "No." The word was final. A vow. Her eyes searched mine. "Why risk?" "Because it's right." Internal conflicts gnawed. Nights, I'd wake sweating from dreams where Sarah's grave morphed into Apache villages aflame. Kaya's face among the fallen. Was I atoning, or just seeking absolution from ghosts? Kaya, too, wrestled demons, trust eroded by betrayal. Her protectiveness toward Ayana, a shield against vulnerability. One crisp morning, we rode out to check the northern fence line, the air biting with frost, our breaths visible plumes. The cliffs loomed, red sentinels guarding secrets. Kaya's horse danced beneath her, attuned to her tension. "Land beautiful. Harsh, like people here," I replied. We dismounted at a break in the wire, tools in hand. As we worked, barbs drawing. "Blood," she spoke. "In mountains, we had peace. Until soldiers. I was one." She paused, gloves stained red. "Change. Trying." A distant crack echoed gunshot. We froze, senses alert. "Hunters," she whispered. "Or worse." We mounted quickly, riding toward the sound. Cresting a ridge, we saw smoke rising from a neighboring ranch. Faint but ominous. "Raiders," Kaya said, her voice tight. "Or accident." But doubt crept in. "Back home, News trickled in via a rider Apache band, blamed for arson. Tensions spiked. That night, Kaya confronted me. If they come, what you do? Fight for us. For home. Her hand touched my arm briefly, a spark in the cold. Maybe you different. The bond deepened through trials. A calf strayed into a wash, mud sucking at our boots as we pulled it free, our laughter rare but genuine amid the strain. Ayana's stories around the fire wove threads of Apache lore, bridging worlds, but shadows loomed. Sheriff Stone arrived unannounced, flanked by deputies, their horses kicking up dust that choked the air. Coleman, we got word those squaws of yours seen near the burned ranch. Kaya stepped onto the porch, chin high. We no leave. Stone's eyes narrowed, hand on his gun. Mouthy one, chain her up, Coleman, or I will. She's free. He laughed, cruel, free, bought property. I can take M. Tension crackled. I stood firm. Try. The standoff ended with Stone backing down, but his parting words lingered. Watch your back. In the quiet after, Kaya turned to me. You stood. Yes. Trust flickered, fragile as dawnlight. As winter neared, blizzards threatened, isolating us further. Supplies dwindled, forcing a town run. Kaya insisted on coming, her presence a risk but a statement. The ride was tense, winds howling, dust devils swirling like omens. In Tombstone, stares followed. At the store, murmurs rose. Coals, squaws. Kaya ignored them, but her grip on the counter whitened knuckles. Outside, Crawford lurched, his voice slurred with whiskey. Missed out on the young one. Breaker yet, Coleman. Rage surged. My fist connected with his jaw, the crack satisfying. He sprawled in mud, blood mixing with dirt. Kia pulled me away. Not worth, but the fight drew blood figurative and literal. Back home, bruises blooming, she tended my hand, her touch gentle. Foolish for you. Her eyes softened, grateful. In that moment, connection sparked not lightning, but a steady flame, forged in shared adversity. Yet inner demons persisted. Kaya confessed one night, fire low, afraid to trust. Men before ... broke me. I shared Sarah's loss, the emptiness. Healing takes time. Together, perhaps. The chapter closed on a precipice, external threats mounting, internal walls crumbling. Slowly, the frontier's cruelty amplified their bond, survival intertwining with emerging affection, promising storms ahead.